Hello and welcome to Yarra Library School Holidays program. I'm Andrew from Richmond Library and I'll be taking you through a fun craft activity today. Here at Yarra Libraries we acknowledge that this recording was made on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. We pay tribute to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in Yarra and give respect to elders past, present and emerging. Today we're going to have a look at doing some pressing of flowers, so drying and then pressing them. So as spring's coming in, you might be out on your walk and spot a few beautiful things that you'd like to pick. And so grabbing a handful of your favourite flowers from your neighbourhood and pressing them is a wonderful way to create different types of crafts and lots of little embellishments and cute things that you can use them for. So you see that I've got some bigger ones here and also some boughs. So a little bit of a branch with some flowers on it can press down really nicely. I like these little sprigs here as well. If you've got any cute little ones around, they can be a really nice one too. There's a couple different ways of drying these, and some of them take a lot longer than others. And if, like me, you've got young kids and they're a little bit impatient, you can use your microwave. So if you've got two heavy things to press them between, you can position a couple of different things on a tile, as I found here in the garden. We have one left over, but you could just as easily use a flat brick or anything like that. So clearing this one off for a quick second. So you want to get yourself a nice heavy flat surface. Tiles work really well. They don't tend to reflect a lot of heat. The best thing that I have found was a fire brick. That was one that came very heavily recommended. The ones that you line the inside of a pizza oven, for instance, can go really well, but they are quite expensive. So using what you find lying around is a nice way to go forward. So starting out, we get our tile, lay it down. You can get some tissues, works really well, or kitchen paper is also really good. You'll notice that these ones are nice and thick, so as you lay them down, you can spread them out just to help them a little bit. This one's from a nice bunch that my sister sent me for my birthday, so that's lovely. And just giving them all a bit of space, because when we do this in the microwave, the moisture is going to come out a lot more quickly than if we left it pressed. So for instance, this one here, once I pop these little guys down, comes out looking a bit like this. After around 2 days in a press. It's still got plenty of green, but you can see that the tips are getting quite papery. And the longer that you leave it pressed, obviously, the firmer that press is going to be. And you can probably start to feel, this is a couple of days later, but it's still a bit damp. This one, however, we went through the whole process of this. And you can see it's come up a little bit more of the brown yellow, but the colours of the leaves are still of the petals are still really vibrant. So it's horses for courses, depending on what effect you want to get. But, I'm working with a 4-year-old, so I've got to make sure that the results are pretty quick. So once you've got your little selection for pressing, you pop them in, make sure there's enough space around them. And we cover them again with another piece of kitchen paper, or I've got some paper towels here, tissues here. And then you would pop your second tile on top. And then, if you're really lucky like me and you have a brick lying around, you pop that on top as well. And that way you get enough weight to really press them down. And the time for microwaving them will vary, so doing them in small batches of just the same flour can be a really good way to sort of test how the results come out. Here's a little results sample from some of the other ones from around that we found. So you can see those boughs come down really nicely, and you sort of get a really interesting effect of all the different leaves spreading out. These are some of as you can see, this one's still got a little bit of moisture in it from the pressing. And this one we're using the tissues, it does ripple sometimes. And it's really interesting to see how much of them are really full of moisture and how many of them still hold quite a lot of shape afterwards. So from here, we can use them for all different kinds of crafts. You'll see that our wonderful librarian Lizzie is also doing a scrapbooking craft. So that could be a really nice thing to include, is to press some flowers from one of your walks and maybe write a little story about what you saw on your walk. And including some pressed flowers stuck in there would be a lovely way to show where you went and what you did. Let's just spread these ones out. And you'll get, these ones came up absolutely gossamer thin. They were really difficult to get off. As you can see, they've stained the tile a little bit. But what I've got to put them in is a glass frame. So I found these ones in Hard Rubbish, which is a nice cheap way to get a bunch of different frames. You can use larger ones, obviously. And I'll just show you one of the simplest ways to get a really stark effect on this So we pop this down here. And remembering that the facing is the other side, so we want to put all the parts that we want to see away from us. So I can build up some layers of colour on this one. And if you find some new buds, they can dry up really nicely. It's got a really stunning little effect, those. So once you're happy with it, you think you might be ready to pop on the backing. Maybe I'll pop you in the middle. I'm sure I'll get letters from florists about this, my arrangement, but now this one I decided is a little bit long, so I might pull that stem off a bit more. Make it come in from the other way. So one way to try to get the most out of how the transparency of the leaves looks can be to use 2 pieces of glass and to leave it on a windowsill somewhere so the light can shine through. Oh, give that a little. If you need any help with this sort of stuff, do always get yourself an adult. They're very useful at these sorts of things. And that way you can get a really nice transparent effect. So you can really see the colours of the translucent ones. So that's one style of it. The other one that I liked was to have a bit of a white backing on it as well. So there's pros and cons to each, and you can obviously muck around. There's no set thing that you have to do with them. But there's just some really lovely little things that you can create to go as part of your scrapbooking, or as just decorations for anything that you like. So thanks for joining me today, and I hope you find some wonderful flowers out there on your walk. I'd love to see what sort of results you come up with. So please do share your results on Facebook and tag Facebook or Instagram and tag Yarra Library so we can see what beautiful things you come up with. Okay, thanks for joining me today. Bye.